great. I'm so glad you guys are here today, especially during this week, right? Embracing kind of the full hustle of the holidays this week. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to be mindful this Monday. PD Health at Home is presented by the Light of Day Foundation, whose generosity has made this programming possible. So a big thank you to the Light of Day Foundation. The Parkinson's Foundation has everything you need to live better with Parkinson's disease. So please don't hesitate to reach out to our helpline, 1-800-4PD-INFO. You can email them at helpline@parkinson.org or visit us online at parkinson.org. Our next Wellness Wednesday won't return until January 6th. So we are taking a little bit of a break through the holidays. And next Wellness Wednesday, as I said, will be January 20 on the 6th, and Thinking Changes in Parkinson's, Engaging Neuropsychology. So please do join us. We'll be featuring Dr. Travis Turner from the Medical University of South Carolina. And of course, next Monday, please continue to practice your mindfulness next Monday. Dr. Craig Hase will join us again next week. So please, please, please mark your calendars, commit to your practice, okay? And we'll see you guys again next week. And last week, Dr. Rush shared some statements of acceptance with us, and a few of you had asked if I would provide those statements for you. So here they are. These are statements that Dr. Rush came up with on the fly. Take a picture, get your phone out, take a picture of the statements. If you want to continue to work with these mantras, we can always, this event will be uploaded on YouTube, so you can find these statements again on YouTube. We'll just take a few moments so you guys can find your phones and take a picture or take a screenshot on your computer. I see the phones are out. Good. Thanks, Brenda. I love the thumbs up. I believe that's all I got for you guys. That's right. Great. So I am just beside myself because Craig and Devin have been doing some really beautiful introspective work lately. They have been out in the mountains, loving nature, enjoying the weather, enjoying themselves. And so I'm going to turn the mic over so Craig can tell you a little bit more about what he's been up to and lead us through our practice today. So Craig, thank you so much for coming back.
Yes, very nice to see all of you. It's a delight to be back. I wasn't going to talk about myself at all, but now that you have kind of outed me, so my wife, Devin, and I, who teach meditation a lot together and who wrote a book together and spend a lot of time together, we have been on meditation retreat for the entire fall. So this is something that we really love to try to do, is go out to these cabins in the wilderness in Southern Oregon where we live and basically do nothing but the practices that I'm going to lead you through today. And so mindfulness is something that you can benefit from doing 5 minutes a day, doing 10 minutes a day, or if you get really, really interested the way that we have, you might want to do it 10 hours a day or 11 hours a day. Very few people ever catch that level of the bug. So don't feel intimidated or like you have to do that. But for us, we just love it so much and we find so much benefit from it that we like to take these deep dives. And we're just now coming out of that 3-month period. In fact, this is my first teaching event after spending all of this time mostly alone. So it's especially delightful to see all of your faces and to know that all of you are out there and we're going to do a little bit of meditation together. Now, I had a question for you, and we're going to have a poll. It's going to go up in a moment. We have 2 different ways we could start today. One, would you like to start with a question and answer session? because I know you've had a lot of really great guest speakers and topics that you've been digging into. So would you prefer to start with a Q&A, or would you prefer to start with a story? We could go either direction. And we'll let democracy win here. So we'll see what people say. Whoops, story is really winning. Okay. And there's another poll. So it looks like 18 people would like a story and 4 people would like the question and answer. So let's start with a story. And I'll try to leave some time at the end for Q&A. So what we'll do is we'll do a story. We'll do a little bit of meditation practice together. And then if my time management skills are strong enough, we'll have Q&A at the end. We'll see how it goes. So I wanted to tell a story that I think relates pretty closely to some of the topics that you all have been working with in these Mindfulness Mondays with the other guest instructors. It's sort of broadly speaking about acceptance, and in particular around accepting physical difficulty. So a lot of us have some physical difficulty related to Parkinson's or otherwise. You know, like for me personally, I've struggled with chronic pain in my body for a lot of years based on getting a little bit too into athletics when I was young and having some pretty somewhat severe injuries. And so for me, working with pain has been a really big part of my mindfulness practice. And so I wanted to talk about a story in which mindfulness really helped someone that I was working with physical discomfort. So for a year in 2015 and 2016, I worked in a prison. And it was really interesting, all of these ideas that I had about what it might be like to work with people who are incarcerated. And, you know, the first day feeling pretty intimidated. There's all these grill gates and they open and close and the guards and all these things. And didn't really know what to expect. But my experience of working with incarcerated people was really heart opening. And I had these very, very strong connections with people, in particular because I had the opportunity to go in to the different units and teach mindfulness. So that was one of the things I did. I'm a psychologist, I have a PhD in psychology. So I did a lot of therapy, I did a lot of assessment, but my favorite thing was I would get to go into these units and teach mindfulness. And my absolute favorite thing was that sometimes I would get to do it one-on-one with people. So this one time, I got called in to work with an individual, so a guy in his 30s, who had been in a really bad fight. And his jaw had been broken. And because he was incarcerated and dependent on the state, he had not been able to get surgery yet. So his jaw had healed incorrectly. And he was waiting and waiting and waiting to be able to get the surgery that he needed to have it corrected. And he was in pain. You could see that the jaw was not correct. And he was in pain, and everything he did was painful. Chewing was painful, all this stuff was painful. And in addition to the physical pain, he had tremendous resistance to the pain and a lot of anger. I would say understandably, a lot of anger that he wasn't getting the treatment that he needed. And so I went in there and we were talking and I was asking him and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this pain? 10 being the worst, 1 being almost no pain. And he said right now, and basically all the time, it's an 8. And I said, whoa. I mean, an 8 is like, we need to get you to the hospital. Like an 8 is, it's completely intolerable. And he said, brother, it's an 8. It's that bad. And I have to admit, I was a little intimidated. Here I am. The only thing I have to offer is mindfulness. By the way, he's not allowed to take narcotics because he's a drug addict. So he has all this pain. The only thing I have is, I'd like you to watch your breath. And so I'm feeling pretty intimidated. Like, what am I going to do here with this guy? I don't have tools for an 8. This is too much. But I figure, okay, it's been so helpful for so many people, and it's been helpful for me. And what else am I going to do? So let's give it a shot. And so I led him through this mindfulness exercise. We're here together. Gar's outside the door. And I had him close his eyes, close my eyes. I felt really good and safe with this person. And I had him just start by paying attention to a part of his body that had no pain, right? So like his left foot, no pain. Really get into that. Really, really feel his left foot. Because what happens when we have pain? When we have pain, our attention weds itself to that pain. So I wanted to break that cycle a little bit. So I had him pay attention to his left foot. Then, once we'd done that for a couple minutes, still our eyes are closed, we're meditating, I brought him back straight into the center of the pain, right in the middle of his jaw. And I asked him to let go of any thoughts about the pain and to just feel the pain itself as sensation. Like, what does it really feel like? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it throbbing? Is it sharp? Really get in there and really, really feel the pain. Then I brought him back to his foot because that's so intense. Really feeling pain is very intense. Then we back to the jaw again. And then just kind of the whole body, relaxing, being with the whole body. And that whole thing took about 10 minutes. It was a longer meditation. And we opened our eyes and I looked at him and he looked more relaxed. He looked more relaxed. And I thought, oh, this is okay. That's good. And I asked him, where is your pain now? In this moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your pain? And he said, it's a 3. It went from an 8 to a 3 in that moment. I was stunned. I was absolutely shocked. We think of pain as something that's physical, right? And of course it is. There's the physical stimulus, there's that physical sensation. But what a lot of research is showing us, and specifically research from the Stanford Pain Lab, is that it's also mental. So there's the physical sensation of pain, and then there's what we do with it, how we interpret it, and in particular, the resistance to it. Resistance to pain magnifies the pain. Acceptance of pain decreases the pain. This is not to say that the pain will go away, because it won't. And in this particular man's experience, the reason it dropped so much, this is what we talked about. Why do you think it drops so much? What happened there? Was because his resistance and his anger were so strong that it was amplifying the pain more and more and more. So his resistance was much more than normal, whatever that means. And that's why it dropped more than normal. But my experience of working with many, many different people is that even if you don't see quite that much of a dramatic drop, there's some difference. There's some difference. And this ties into what I think you were all talking about last time, was acceptance. How do we accept the way things are? How do we accept the way the body is right now? How do we accept the way our emotions are? How do we accept the way that our thoughts are? The way the world is, my God. How do we accept it? And that doesn't mean giving up. That doesn't mean collapsing. That means acceptance and engagement from my perspective. We accept and engage. And acceptance is a kind of engagement. Should we do a little practice? Let's do a little practice. We're going to do a really simple one today. We'll just do a maybe 5 minutes so you can settle into your chair, your couch, wherever you are. Maybe let your eyes close. Take a nice deep breath. Let it out. And just bring a warm, a kind of friendly awareness to your body. So right now I'm in my friend's basement. It's 52 degrees and I am cold. So I'm feeling this body that feels a little cold at the moment. My hands feel like kind of shaky. And I'm just allowing that. And just for you, you can just feel your body. What are you feeling right now? You might feel your feet, feel your legs, feel your hands. Just noticing, how is it? How is the body at the moment? How are your shoulders? And your breath. Can you feel the way that your breath is moving into your lungs, moving out of your lungs, moving into your lungs and out again? It's like the rhythm of waves on the beach. And so mindfulness practice is, in essence, the practice of accepting what is. A lively acceptance, an engaged acceptance of this body, this heart, this mind. Just feeling what's alive, the aliveness of your breath. Also the aliveness, are there any emotions that are here? You know, maybe you're feeling really connected right now or joyful. Maybe that story spoke to you in some way. Maybe you're feeling resistant and moody. Happens to me sometimes. Just allowing whatever's here, emotions that are pleasant, that are unpleasant. The aliveness in you is really welcome. Welcoming it in. And your thoughts are also welcome. You don't have to push your thoughts out. You don't have to get rid of your thinking. At the same time, you don't have to believe every thought that goes through your mind. Just allowing thoughts to be here and knowing your thoughts as they are. The same way that you know your breath, same way that you know the space of your heart. Really acknowledge, oh, this is what I'm thinking. Maybe worry. Worry is welcome here. Or sadness. Sad thoughts are welcome. It's all, there's space for everything. And let's take another deep breath or two. Maybe open your eyes, let the body move around a bit if you want. I like to kind of roll my shoulders. Whew. Rock back and forth, forward and back. Good, good. So nice to see some of the people that I was seeing 3 months ago. Some of these regulars. And to see new faces. So we have a little bit of time now. My time management skills came through, and we could do a little question and answer. Just if you can see the chat box, you just click on that chat box and you can type in a question. And this question could be about something that I presented today. This question could be about something that was presented in previous weeks, or it could just be anything from your mindfulness practice or your experience with Parkinson's, your experience in the whole rest of your life, anything that you think might be relevant or helpful to you. And I will do my best to have some semblance of an answer. And so you can see Jennifer type your questions here. I can see a couple of people typing, so I'm pretty sure a question is going to come soon. Yeah. So B is saying, do you have any suggestions for meditations specific for Parkinson's, maybe scripts? I am not familiar with any scripts that are particular to Parkinson's, although I'm sure that some people have them. And for meditations that could be really useful for Parkinson's, what I have found is these body-based meditations are really useful for Parkinson's. So of course, there are many different symptoms of Parkinson's, and I should say I'm a psychologist. I'm not a medical expert, and I am not an expert on Parkinson's, but just in my limited experience of working with people who have symptoms, these body-based meditations can be really helpful in 2 ways. The first way is that sometimes the symptoms ease a little bit, right? Let's say you have a tremor. It's really common. There can be something about bringing a warm awareness and accepting attention to that tremor that it might ease, it might calm just for a moment. And that can be a relief. Now, it's not going to resolve the tremor, it's not going to cure you, but sometimes the symptoms can go down a little bit when we bring this warm awareness. The second piece, and in a way the more important piece, is that bringing this body-based awareness can really help us familiarize ourselves with the symptoms and accept them. And then the emotional part, the resistance, the grief process that often accompanies having some kind of difficulty like this, can move through you, and you can sort of find ways to grow from it. It can even be a sense of spiritual growth that comes from accepting. So those are my answers for now. It's such a good question. I want to talk about it much more, but there's other questions here. What is the balance, Naomi says, between emptying your mind and allowing thoughts as they come? Great questions. So there are, in fact, different answers to this based on the different methodologies, right? Because there's different schools of meditation. And you could say there's a range. On one end of the spectrum, there are schools of meditation that really want you to pick a focus point and stick to that. So for example, some schools of meditation, you concentrate just on the air coming out of the nostrils and into the nostrils with your breath. And you put all of your awareness on that point. And that can be very helpful. Other schools of meditation are open, wide, wide open. They don't concentrate on anything except being present to the fullness of experience. The school of meditation that I come from is somewhere in the middle, where it's nice to have a focal point and allow that focal point to be very, very relaxed. And within the context of that focal point, thoughts can come and go. And the key is, are you lost in the thoughts or not? So if you're with the breath, can you feel the breath and allow the thoughts to move through like a river? The moments when you fall in the river, you notice that, you come back to the breath, and you let the thoughts go. So it's a little bit of a balance. You stay with the meditation you're doing, but you don't resist the thinking. Oh my gosh, I'm so close to out of time. And there's such good questions here. Okay, I'm going to answer a simpler question since I only have 1 minute. Denise is asking,
if you've got the time and if the group wants to stick around, we can answer the questions here.
Oh, okay.
As long as you have the time.
I have the time.
Okay.
Whew. That's a relief. But I'll start with Denise then. So how do you transition from 5 to 10 minute practice to longer sessions? One recommendation I have is using apps, if you're an app person. So I've got my phone here, right? I saw a lot of other people taking pictures with their phone. That means maybe you're a phone person. If you have a grandchild or a kid who can help you, the younger generation, even younger than me, the younger people are, the better they are at these things. Like I know 9-year-olds that are smarter on their technology than I am. So you can get help, but you can get a meditation app. Some are free and some cost. A free one is called Insight. Insight Timer. That's a free app that has many thousands of meditations on there. And there are different lengths of guided meditations. And so you can start with some that are 5 to 10 minutes long. And then it's kind of like going to the gym where you like up the weights a little bit, or you up the time that you're lifting. And so you can go from 5-minute meditations to 10-minute meditations, maybe to 15, then to 20. And more is not necessarily better. So it's sort of, how does it feel to you? What are you wanting to do? But I really recommend the app thing. And if you're doing it yourself, you can just set your timer, on the clock function, there's a timer. Just set it for like 10 minutes. If that's starting to feel like you'd like to go longer, then set it for 12 minutes or 15 minutes. That's another way. Yes, Simple Habit too. That's where my meditations are, on Simple Habit. So thank you, Jennifer. Okay. And which meditations technique was most successful in transitioning to longer meditations and longer sessions? That is very individual. So I'd say experiment, experiment, experiment. See what works for you. Now, we had a question here about anxiety. How do I use mindfulness to deal with anxiety? Very good. The simple answer for this is that there are many, many different techniques for working with anxiety, all of which can be effective. So for example, I'm a psychotherapist and I use a lot of what's called cognitive behavioral therapy. And in that technique, you sort of talk back to the anxiety, right? You ask it questions like, is this true? What's the worst that can happen? And you actively disbelieve your thoughts of anxiety. And that can be very effective. And I love that very much. And I work with clients with that. Mindfulness is a different approach. So instead of actively talking back, you kind of sit back and rest and allow, right? So let's say I have an anxious thought about getting on an airplane. I mean, especially right now. I'm anxious. I'm actually not going to get on an airplane because I am anxious. But let's say I had to, and I feel anxious. The mindfulness-based approach to this would be to allow. Okay, my love. Sometimes we even talk to ourselves. And I like to have clients call themselves my love. That might be too cheesy for some people, but okay, my love, this is anxiety. And really sort of take the elevator down from the head level to the body level. Feel the anxiety. All right, what does this feel like? Make room for the anxiety. Okay, it feels like a tension in my chest. Oh, my throat is constricted. Oh, my heart rate is going up. It's not going to kill you. There is room for the anxiety. At the same time, you don't get caught up in all the thinking, right? You don't fall in the river. So you come back to the body. You come back to the body. You come back to the body and just feel the anxiety. Feel it physically. That's the mindfulness approach. I'd recommend also, if you can find somebody to talk to about this, it's much easier to learn. Because anxiety in particular is so sticky. So if you can talk this through with somebody, it's very, very helpful. Okay. Yes, so Lois is saying I found it difficult to transition to longer sessions. Once I got used to 5 minutes, it was very difficult to go longer because after 5 minutes, my body and mind felt done. I got conditioned to feel done. So I wonder if it's better to start longer. It could be. It could be better to start longer. The other thing I'll say is there are many meditation groups meeting online, right? This group is going every week. And if you're looking for groups that do longer meditations, there are other meditation groups that do longer meditations. So that's another way to kind of up the ante, is to join, meditation groups that meet in the evenings or wherever and whenever. Just, you can kind of Google meditation group online and see what comes up. Now I'm long over time, so I will just say it has been so much fun to spend time with all of you and to see all of your faces and to talk about these things that I quite like to talk about. I haven't talked to anyone in 3 months, so it's very exciting. And I'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Handing it back over to Crista.
Thanks, Craig. And so thank you all for joining us this Mindful Monday and welcoming Craig back from the mountains. So I appreciate you all. Let's stay with this state of acceptance and this mindful awareness of accepting what is for today. So before we close, just find your comfortable seat. Take a moment to let this all integrate. If it feels okay, you can close your eyes. Just take a deep breath in and let it go. Fluttering the eyes open and sharing a smile with everyone. And we'll see you all right back here, same time next Monday. And Craig will join us live again. Thank you all so much. Have a great week.